There goes the rain. Now the TV set's going haywire. Every time it
Hello,
rains, the TV
folks.
sets go haywire. Can't
Hello,
see anything
folks.
to it.
And welcome to the Halloween Extravaganza IV. My name's Anthony Kerrigan, and this evening we're joined by paranormal investigators and podcast hosts Amanda Lombardo and also Irene Akiko. How you doing, folks?
We're doing good.
Hey,
How you doing? So tonight's subject we're going to be talking about spooky Japan and also weird encounters. Just remember, folks, you can comment on this live feed, this live post. You can also go to our website, www.ghostera.net. Go to the contact page, fill in the blanks. If you have any private messages, please put in brackets private message. If you're affiliated with any paranormal team or tourist attraction, feel free to name the group or the organization, and we'll also give a shout out to you. We're coming live from Facebook, and also you can check up on past shows by going to our website, www.ghostera.net, by pressing the red button, the Ghost Era channel on the homepage, and that will bring up you to whatever has happened in the past with shows. Amanda and Irene, how are you doing?
We're doing good.
Happy
I'm soaked.
Halloween. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Happy,
it's
happy
it's
boo
still
boo.
right now, everyone. It's almost 100 degrees in Japan with the high 90s in humidity. So when I was telling Irene, I was like, this is the first time. Japan was the first time I saw humidity. That's how high it is here. Like I live on a sixth floor. I'm waiting for the elevator to go down, so I'm looking up in the trees, and I just see humidity, and I'm like, that's crazy to me. I didn't know it was possible.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to, so yeah, we've got to talk about spooky Japan. But first of all, I'll come to you, Amanda, and I'll come to yourself, Irene. How did you first? Obviously, did you come to Japan? Can you tell us about how you came to Japan?
Yeah, I came to Japan just shy of 2 years ago, actually, from America. Investigated a lot there, and I was excited. I came over here because my husband's in the Navy. The Navy base is literally pretty much right behind my apartment building in the bay. So sometimes I'll see stuff out there, especially with like ships or whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
it's funny because I first got to Japan, I'm just like, the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna dig into the paranormal community. I'm gonna be a big part of the paranormal community. I'm gonna go on these fun investigations. I'm gonna be able to brag when I get back to the States about all these investigations I did. And then when I looked it up, there's absolutely nothing.
Right.
And I'm
Okay.
like, what? And I was like, are you kidding me? And I kept on trying to search different ways. I just couldn't find it. And then I finally met Irene through social media. And she's like, yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
because there's not any. It's just me. And now it's you. So it's just us. And
Yeah,
openly
like it's
into the
just
paranormal
us.
here in Japan. Yeah. You can't book investigations out here like you can back in America or you can
Mm.
back in, well, people show us back in the UK. You can't do that. If it's haunted here, they tend to close it up to the public. And what someone has told me, it's because Japan is more superstitious than they are even religious. So it's one of those
Mm-hmm.
things where I don't think they know how to handle if a spirit gets angry, what to do. And I
Okay.
found out digging through a lot of the history of Japan and also learning about all the urban legends, which there are thousands of here in Japan, reading about them and learning them, there's a lot of shrines here built to appease angry spirits, and even
Right.
and they even say even some of them are might be in prime real estate in these bigger cities, but they can't tear them down because of superstition. That if they tear
Right.
it down, that spirit's going to come back angry, and they don't know what to do. So they're just like, "We'll just
Mm-hmm.
keep it up." They
Mm-hmm.
tried tearing one down in Tokyo because it was
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be prime real estate, especially for offices. They tore it down, had some bad luck, so they assumed, oh, it has to be that angry spirit. So they
Mm-hmm.
rebuilt the shrine. They're like, we just won't worry about any
Mm.
offices right there.
Mm-hmm.
And Irene, this is interesting. Irene, like you be so. Was there any previous to man? Was there anybody else you connected in on the paranormal level in Japan? Was it just yourself? No one else.
We're kind of like to ourselves. We don't talk about it.
Oh, okay. And is it got? Do you feel like, as you said, is it to do with mostly religion, or is it to do with past, what's happened in the past with?
Mostly like a superstition.
Hmm. And would you say, as in, do people believe in ghosts? Obviously.
Uh, if you're if you come from the older generation, you do. If you come from the younger generation, you won't,
Hmm.
or
I
they
know.
don't.
Right, and I was going to say that, as you say that, I know you mentioned the earthquake recently. There are minor earthquakes, and it's in the news at the moment. They're expecting a big one. I hope
Hmm.
that doesn't come to pass there. But does that kind of affect on like the climate? Like, do you feel like, as you were talking beforehand there, like this, how you feel there's energy changes when there's paranormal activity associated with kind of like earthquakes or tsunamis as well?
Hurricanes, yes. Uh, like we have the rainy season. It starts in July, and it stays rain. It stays wet till for 2 weeks.
Okay.
That brings out a lot of paranormal activity. Bad weather brings out a lot of paranormal activity. Yeah.
And Amanda, there as if I was going to go over to Japan, there would, I know you mentioned that, is it locations are very hard to get come by? Is that correct?
They are. You can't really go into any investigations there. I mean, you can some parks, assuming they don't close at night. And Irene can tell you, some of them at like 8 or 9 o'clock just close to the public because they're just like it's haunted. We don't want to mess with any ghosts there at night, so it's
Yeah.
closed.
And some are dangerous. Like if you intermingle with them, they'll take you and they'll unalive you.
Okay. And I suppose
So you have to be very careful which ones you mingle with it, and it depends on if you're male or female too.
right. Oh, would it be harder for, like, say, if especially like a foreign national like myself, and because there's lack of paranormal probably investigators there, would they not, are they there but they're just not willing to communicate? Would that be correct?
They'll search one out. They'll find spirits, but that's about it.
Okay, right.
They won't interact with them. They don't talk to them. If you're a paranormal investigator in Japan, that's as far as they go to. And if people have a problem in their home, like move out, live in another place.
Okay.
They don't
Oh,
try to fix it. Like
okay.
Amanda will tell you the
There's
same
no
way.
teams for you to call. There's no one to call for you to do any
Yeah.
cleansing. So that also, I mean, that doesn't help the situation with the
No.
Hmm.
paranormal and them wanting
No.
to mess with it. And that's also why they tend to lock it down because, like I said, I mean, unfortunately, if one gets angry, you don't have anyone to call to kind of cleanse it
No.
out. And Irene
No.
was in that situation too, with her old condo where she tried to find someone to come help her to come cleanse, but there's no one.
No.
And
So
do
I
you,
lived with it till we moved out, and we ran.
I don't know. I suppose it's very, when there's nobody to contact then, and there's nobody to actually
No,
converse and talk to. Then it's very difficult. Then, do you,
because yeah, where I used to live, it killed 18 people and counting, and the 18th person was in July, and we
hmm,
moved out in October.
all right, okay. So so you find yourself that did a lot of people come to you, Irene? You know, like I know if it's, I know you'd probably be the only person that they can contact, yourself and Amanda there at the moment there. But do you feel, has it gone higher the amount of people in recent years, or has it gone lower? People maybe contacting
Her
you.
her clients are mostly in the United States. She'll do
Yeah,
virtual
all yeah,
investigations with them.
yeah.
So
Okay.
unfortunately, we can't say we haven't had anyone from Japan reach out to us just because
No.
it's not something they do. It's not something they want to admit to.
Yeah.
There are a handful of people online that do try and go to scary locations, but they're either behind a camera so you can't ever see them, or they blur their face, or they wear masks,
Mm.
and their DMs are closed. Because
Mm.
trust me,
Yeah.
I've tried messaging them. I even tried posting comments, trying
Yeah.
to get hold of them. They absolutely won't. And there's some even that they do just they don't do investigations. They just tell some of
The
the
story.
folklore here,
Mm.
some
Yeah,
of the
the
folklore
story of the
here, and
place, and that's it.
some of the urban legends. They'll talk about urban legends, and I've tried to even reach out to them, and it's one of those things where they have their DMs closed. They won't answer. They'll totally ignore you because they're like, we're not coming out and talking to anyone else about it,
No.
even if you are here in Japan with me.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I'll probably go ask you there, Amanda, because is it that as well that there's no information over the internet on about these locations, as in the history as well. Apart from the history, the paranormal side of it as well. As you say, is it mostly oral told folklore, as in they tell it by word of mouth
A
instead of
lot of
writing it
it,
down on the internet?
yeah, a lot of it here in Japan is word of mouth, especially from like
Mhm.
the older generation.
Mhm.
Will
Mm.
tell you not. I mean, there's still a lot online, but there's a lot more not online that people tell.
Yeah. And you know what? Online is not always what the people really say, because you'll find discrepancies between what is written online and what a person said. The older person said,
Mhm.
"I believe the older person more than I believe what's written online."
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say that as well as apart from that on the internet, then as well, I suppose the foundations of starting up a team. I suppose nobody wants to do it in around the area. Um,
Mhm.
I suppose then it would be hard to find. Would it be hard to get, like, say, insurance? There'd be no insurance companies that'd be ever imagined of taking this on.
No,
We don't. We also don't have vital records here in Japan either for
no,
you to go and investigate
yeah,
properties, who's been there before, who's lived there before. There's
yeah,
none of that here. So
no.
it's definitely you
If
need to
they
find
had
a
it, they
neighbor who would
shredded it.
know.
If
Hmm.
they had it, they shredded it,
Yeah, because I
Okay.
know
because they don't
people
want.
back like
Yeah, they
paranormal
don't want.
investigators in paranormal investigators in America would be like, yeah, I'll go to the library and I'll
Hmm.
research that location, who's lived there before, who's died there
Yeah,
before. You
yeah,
can't do that in Japan. We've even had
no,
professional research teams who wanted to come to Japan. They're like, hey, we can't find any of the records on this. Is there any resources that you have that we don't? And I'm just like, you can't find it because it doesn't exist.
Right.
yeah,
We're not keeping it from you. It doesn't exist. So unfortunately, if that's your requirement,
hmm,
I guess you're not gonna be able to come to Japan because we just don't have public records for you to have the official record.
Hmm.
yeah,
That's what. And would that, like, would World War II have something to do with that as well? I know because we over 100 years ago we had the records were mostly in Irish history were burnt during the Irish Civil War. Would that have any um, would that have any link towards it?
not really, because like there's so much that happened. Like
Hmm.
I don't even think they would even keep up with the records,
Hmm. Okay.
because
And
there's so many haunted areas, and like where's what's from what, what era and what time, what happened there, well, who died there, or who was killed there. Yeah, there, it's just so much. It'd be overwhelming.
yeah, and going back because we watch it on Hollywood and TV and see all the programs like The Ring um,
Hmm.
and what's the most The Ring and what's the other one?
Gion, Gion,
What's it?
Gion,
Joe.
Gion is another one.
Oh,
Yeah,
and what? How is it? Are these based on true stories? Obviously, I might have asked this before there,
yeah,
but is that
yeah,
true? Like The Ring?
yeah, yeah.
The
It is.
Ring is based off of a story one of the famous ghost stories here in Japan happened at the Himeji Castle,
Mm-hmm.
but
Right.
they obviously made it more. They made it more modern because, as
Hmm.
the original ghost story was, there was a dish maiden named Okiku, and the only reason why I remember her name is the most famous haunted doll here in
Mm-hmm.
Japan is also named Akiku.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But Okiku was a dish maiden. She was supposed to be beautiful. That one of the samurais in the Himeji castle fell in love with her, but she always turned him down. He'd
Mm-hmm.
always ask, she'd always turn down.
Mm-hmm.
One day he started to get really tired of it, so he came up with a plan where the lord of the castle had 10 decorative plates. That's all they say. I have to. They never said how much it is. They just said decorative. That's all they said.
Hmm.
They had to be worth a lot though, just because he hid one and he
Right.
told the Lord, "Hey, I kind of noticed one of your plates is missing." So of course, who was to be blamed was the dish maiden.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
She's searching frantically. She keeps recounting them, counting 9. She's looking all over the place, can't find them. She keeps recounting them, keeps counting 9. She keeps hoping to find this 10th, but she couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
The samurai came up to her and said, "I promise." It's like, "I promise you, if you agree to be my lover, I will
Mm-hmm.
convince the Lord it wasn't your fault that it's gone."
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
She still said no. He got
Right.
upset, so he grabbed her. He To keep it social media friendly out there, he hurt her
Yeah.
continuously, and he kept
Mm-hmm.
dropping her into the well, bring her back up, and he would just be yelling at her, "Are you gonna be my lover now?" She'd still say no. You'd, of course, hurt her again, drop her in the
Mm-hmm.
well, kept going back and forth until finally she was unalived in that well, and he kind of just left her body in there.
Mm-hmm.
The well is still there. You can
Hmm.
take a
All right.
picture of the well.
Oh,
There's even a
cool.
sign that says this was Kiku's well.
Right.
But they said also every night after that, her spirit would come out of that well, would
Mm-hmm.
count to 10, she would start counting. Count, she'd count up to 9, and then she would do a scream. They said
Right.
if you heard any of the counting, you got extremely sick right after. If you
Yeah.
heard the scream, you mysteriously died sometime after.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Is it?
of course then Hollywood kind of got that story and they just kind of made it more modern. They're like, well, this is our modern version because
Yeah.
it turned into.
I haven't heard the story before, and I've heard it before.
Well, yeah,
You
there was
said
a.
it.
I forgot the name of the. Obviously, became a kind of a story, became a scary movie in Japan first. I forgot the
Hmm.
name of it. It starts with an R. But then it became obviously the Hollywood version of The Ring.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know there's the other. It's come to my head now. The Grudge. I don't know if that's anything based
The
on.
Grinch. Yeah.
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 If that's got anything to do with Japan
Mm.
there. But I think that's what's her. She's out of Buffy. I forget now the actress. Is it Sarah Michelle Gellar? Is that right? She
Hmm.
was in it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a good job. I think it is there.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to talk about weird encounter now. So I'm going to I go to you. I know that there's probably going to be a good few there, Irene. There, but can you tell us at least one of them there? Maybe if not, you're probably your first encounter
Mm-hmm.
with the supernatural.
Weird encounter. Okay. I went to Hawaii. We went to Pearl Harbor. Always had to go there. My mom always said we have to go to Pearl Harbor. We have to
Okay.
pray for the souls. Went on the deck. I looked down in the water. I saw the ship. I saw the ship battleship in the water. I got pulled like that, and it
Okay.
made me really dizzy. And all of a sudden, I felt like I was in weird trance, and I was this close to the water. I mean, if I didn't pull myself out, I would have been in the water.
Submerged. Right.
And yeah, and if you're not careful, it could happen to you.
And when did this happen, Irene? Was this a good time
When I
ago?
was no, when I was 25 years old.
Okay, yeah. So, and
And you know what? I bet you it's the spirits are still there.
hmm,
Okay. Um, it depends on on if you can, if you're an empath or not. They could tell you if you are. And
hmm,
it was really weird because yeah, I am Japanese. Yeah. Um, Japan did this, but you don't. I had nothing to do with it, right? And all of a
hmm,
sudden, I'm feeling this weird sensation where I should be in the water. And I'm doing that. I'm rocking back and forth, and this Navy captain looked like this at me and wanted to make sure if I was okay. And he kept on staring at me, and my mom was staring back, and she didn't know what to do. And I said, "Holy cow, I don't feel good."
no,
And I had to just lean against inside the building, and I just said, I feel absolutely lousy." And we went back on the shuttle boat, and we went back to the island, and I said, now I got a really bad headache." And I said, "I don't know what happened. I just got really overwhelmed with that. It
it's,
really freaked me out. I mean, that was the first time when I really had that really weird event happen to me, and I still don't know why.
hmm. And they
It
did. Would you with family members? Would they ever like in touch with the other side, as they would say? No,
mm,
no.
you see, we don't talk about what we do.
Hmm,
Um,
You
I
can't
still
hear.
don't talk about what we do.
hmm. I
I
understand that.
as a person, living in Japan, very few people know what I do,
Hmm.
and I just don't talk about it. It's become the more taboo thing to do, and yeah,
And so and so
it's
and so, did you feel it was the captain or that there's a spirit there to do with the ship there? And do you feel it
yeah.
was? Do you feel like they were in need of help, or they were just to let you know? Was it like just were they showing you a sign of what you're capable
No,
of doing?
to join them, to die with them.
Okay.
More of a because she's Japanese. It's
Hmm.
anger.
Okay, it was
Mm-hmm.
anger. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I've
Oh.
noted, I mean, even here, some spirits who died around then too
Hmm.
don't like me as American because they still see me as
Yeah.
that from then. They haven't moved on. And I think that's also what happened with Irene is this happened because of Japanese, and now Japanese dare to be at their site.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And so Amanda, have you noticed the difference from like spirits going paranormal investigating in America compared to Japan? As in, as you said, it's I don't like so weird, but there's actually I wouldn't say racism, but there's more intention to be um, a disagreement with the race of a living person by
There,
from
I
the
mean,
film.
especially the ones who lived around that time who, and Irene can tell you, there's some people who, after they lost the war, unalive themselves. I still
Yeah.
feel a lot of don't don't like Americans, and I can see that as one of those things. So I leave them alone. I'm like, you know what? Fair
Hmm.
enough.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can do to change your mind. There's nothing Irene can do when she was in Pearl Harbor to change their mind. So it's kind of
No.
one of those things where, all right, I'll back off.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You do you.
But the thing is,
I'll just
I
go over
couldn't
go somewhere
back
else.
off. Yeah, I couldn't back off. I couldn't do anything. And he was determined to push me in the water, to pull me in the water, and I couldn't back off. I couldn't escape. And that's the bad part about it, right? You
Hmm.
couldn't.
Hmm.
You're in that area where it's a little deck above, made on top of the water, and you got no place to go, right?
Hmm.
It's so bad. Like, there's a place that we're gonna go in October. It's called Keon no Taki. It's a beautiful waterfall, but people plunge themselves in the waterfall because they don't want MacArthur to run Japan. So they all unalive themselves. And that waterfall is so haunted, you wouldn't believe it. Like,
Right.
just looking at the picture, I got some pictures from Google and I put it in my account, and it's so weird. Even the waterfall has a picture of a face in it as
Mm.
it goes as it fly, as it goes down the water, as the water goes down to the bottom. It's so, man, you don't need even to increase the photograph to take a look at it, because you can see like here with your plain eyes.
Mm.
And I think it was a sad time, but even my grandfather told my grandmother to. He gave her a gun and said, "Okay, kill everybody, include the kids, and I'll commit suicide and I'll kill myself because Japan lost the war."
Mm. No,
It's still it was, yeah.
it's still
And yeah, and a lot of people did that and they didn't have to die, right?
Mm.
It
I know.
was the Yeah. And when I went to Hiroshima to do the dome building, I found an American who was giving relief to all the people because after they lost the war, he was killed in an atomic bomb. His whole family died, and his spirit came to me. He was really angry with his own country because that happened to him.
Mm.
He said, "It's unforgiving because it killed my wife, all my children."
Yeah, and it's like
Uh, it it was the most saddest time because my mom fled Tokyo to go to Hiroshima. She died of radiation poisoning, okay? And yeah, I mean that whole area has personal effect for me in here.
mm,
And it was really hard for me to do that particular investigation, but I did it. I did it.
mm.
I
And
mean,
it's
personal. I couldn't cry. I couldn't do anything because I wanted to keep it as a professional, and it was so hard to do it, but I did it. It took me a couple hours to do
mm,
that podcast. And, I thought I'm not going back there.
it's tough. I know as you talking about those kind of things, as you can tell, I have an English accent. I'm in Ireland, so I would know kind of understand
Yeah,
how that there might be if I was Irish. I don't know if there would be more spirits that would open up to me, and it's interesting to see
but
like
the
how they get.
spirits in that
Mm,
building
mm,
say, "Aha! I know you can see me. I can see you. I
mm.
got your number."
Right.
That's how they react to you.
Okay.
Like, even if you don't try to interact with them, they could see you coming a mile away.
Mm.
The
That's a s
theory is it's because if you're gifted into a spiritual world, your aura is brighter to them than someone who's not. So they're more.
Mm,
That's also why they're attracted to you, as someone even said. It's like, well, think of it as like a moth to a flame, where
Yeah,
the brighter one is going to get obviously the most
yeah,
attraction.
mm.
yeah.
Same
And
thing with
It's
spirits is if your aura is brighter than other people around you or
mm.
anywhere near you, because you're the one spiritually gifted, of course it's going to come to you
And
first.
they're in your face.
mm,
Yeah.
They'll come right to you. They're in your face. Like the ones that on Amanda's side is like hers is Nagasaki, and Nagasaki they also had an atomic bomb, but hers are more like the sad ones. Mine are more like the unalive ones, and it's mine are like they're kind of jealous and they're kind of like they'll bug the heck out of you, right?
right.
Hers are like the really sad ones, like, "Don't bother me, I won't
Mm,
bother
Mm.
you. You stay
mm.
on my side, your side, I'll stay on my side." That's the way
Yeah.
they are on her side. So
Mm,
Yeah, they've,
this,
because a lot of people, because as I tell people here, I've had to get used to. I see a lot of shadow people,
mm,
and it's interesting here because back in the States, I'm so used to them, in and
mm.
out, going fast. Here, they'll just stand and stare at you. So
yeah,
something I
Okay.
had to get used to, and everyone's just like, "Well, how come you don't try and talk to it more? How come you don't take a picture?" Because it tells me, "Don't you dare." And I'm like, all right,
Mm-mm.
I will leave you alone. I will
Yeah.
not find out what happens if I cross that. Because there's been times where they said, don't you dare. I don't want you
Mm-hmm.
to take my picture. I don't want to talk to you. You
Yeah.
stay over there. If you have to pass, just stay over there. Stay away from me. I'm like, okay. They have a
So,
visual. They have occasionally came into my apartment because my dog will hear it first and she'll start barking at it before I
Yeah.
walk
Yeah.
out there and see it. And it's one of those, they were just like in not that long and they're out. It's more of a,
Yeah.
I can come in here anytime I want, so don't
mm,
think
Mm-hmm.
about crossing that boundary. I'm like, I wasn't going to anyways. You didn't want me to. I wasn't going to find out what happened.
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
very interesting. So
They
it's like,
don't want to talk to you, so
mm,
you don't bug them. They don't bug you, and I don't bug you either.
Yeah,
yeah,
so I'm like, you don't want to talk? I'm not going to talk. You want me
yeah.
to take
Yeah.
your picture? Fine. I will go. I will respect your wishes. I will leave you alone.
So
Yeah.
it's like, I suppose it's. Would you say then as well? Like, I suppose is it whatever's happening in living, they're taking into the afterlife, as in saying that they don't want to talk about it in their own personal space. Same as what paranormal was referred to in Japan at the moment. There is it's not talked about. Or,
Basically, it's that theory of how you were in life is how you're going to be in death.
mm,
Yeah.
So
it's
that's also
it,
why a lot of Irene avoids a lot of them in her area, just because they want to bring you down emotionally with them, like they were.
mm,
Yeah.
And it's one of those things
And
where she's like, "No, you gotta stay
I
away because
had
you can't do that."
I had so many spirits tell me to go and kill myself, like go
mm,
and unalive myself. I said, no, not gonna do that. Like, sorry, I'm not gonna listen to you. And I literally had to argue with it.
mm.
If you
And
don't, they're gonna keep on blabbering at you, right?
I was going to say,
And
as
your ear will fall off, right? I could hear
mm,
them, so my ear could fall off because I really didn't want to have anything to do with it. I really didn't want to listen to them, right?
mm. And I'm just going to talk, just swing it around in a different kind of way. I suppose with the amount of tragedy that's happened with natural disasters and also wars as well, is the kind of like, would the suicide rate be kind of higher in Japan than any per capita per person
So
population?
one thing people don't realize if you don't live in Japan, obviously Japan is mostly a Buddhist country.
Mm,
Buddhism believes that if you're not happy in this life, you can unalive yourself and try again in the next life. So
okay,
that's why you find a lot of the tragic souls here in Japan.
Yeah.
okay. Oh, so yeah, so and there's
There is actually, yeah, that's the one thing I also do tell people in Japan. That's
mm,
one thing you learn fast is, I mean, unfortunately, there's not really any mental help here. Like, if you
that's what I
need
was
a
going to say.
psychiatrist, there's none around me at least. And I mean, obviously, I'm more southern in Japan. I'm more in the country compared to Irene. I don't know if Irene
Mm,
in Tokyo, which is obviously the biggest city, she has access to more things. I don't know if she's really a psychiatrist here. We don't have any down here because
We
that's
okay.
got
one thing they
some
test.
here. We
Mm,
got some
That's the
here,
one thing
but
that's the one thing they test before we're allowed to come to Japan is your mental health. Because they're like, if you need mental health, you can't go.
okay.
You need any kind of drugs or anything for your mental health, you can't go because you're not gonna get it. You're not
No,
gonna
yeah,
get your help. You're not gonna get it in Japan.
okay. It's an
it's
interesting. Sorry, go on, Ari.
it's a very hard country because you don't mingle with other people. You intend to be by yourself. You don't think of yourself first. You think of others first before you think of yourself.
Mm,
And it's more like being aware of your surroundings more than you do of yourself.
mm. It's kind of whatever we've been talking previously about the paranormal side. It seems to be reflected on the living, and it's been probably brought over into the afterlife there.
Yeah.
Where do you see the paranormal in the future going in Japan? Is it gonna just is it gonna just stagnate? It's just gonna keep the way it is, or is there any anything that's gonna make it change?
I think it's getting worse. As Irene will tell you, it's more the older folk that believe in the paranormal in Japan than the younger
Yeah.
folk. The one
Okay.
thing I
Yeah.
tell people, what does not help, is obviously over here, especially when I'm watching like TikTok or whatever reels, and I see what, it shows me what the Japanese are seeing, and the paranormal wise, they're seeing the ones that are clearly faked. And I mean,
Okay.
badly faked for some odd reason is the ones that are being shown over here. And when I say badly faked, I mean you can see the string moving
Okay.
the
Mhm.
object.
Right. You know.
And
Yeah.
that's what's being shown over here. Or you can see something where it's clearly CGI, where they're just like,
Hmm.
do you see?
Yeah.
Why am I seeing two moons? Why am I
Hmm.
seeing
Yeah.
two suns? And we're just like, okay, that's obviously fake, because that would have made news if someone saw two suns for real.
Right.
So
So
we're
is
that's what they're seeing, which does not help in that situation.
so
To
that's
me,
affecting the younger generation at the moment. They can't separate what's the difference between like kind of movie kind of uh, phenomena and actual paranormal phenomena. Would that be
Mm, it's for Japan. The people will try to figure out. You can ask them to go there and look at it and see what happens, but then again, you can. They're not really good. They're not really out there to help you. Okay, they're not really
Hmm.
out there. Just see what's there and that's it. And they report back to you. Okay, that's the end of that one. And if it's really bad, yeah, you gotta leave. Okay, like what I did.
Right?
It's really not it's not it's like putting on a band-aid on a wound that's leaking blood, right?
Hmm. Okay. Yes. Yes. It's you can't stop it. No, it's going to be hard.
but
Um,
also, as
Yeah.
someone told me though, that the younger generation also believes like the urban legends are being told to them as a punishment. Like a lot of them have to do
Yeah.
with, if you have to deep clean your house, or this cryptid's gonna come in your house and get you.
Yeah.
So to them, they're
Yeah.
like, I'm only being told this to be punished.
Yeah.
So that's
okay.
also kind of believing that too, because
And
the older generation like, no, it's real, and the younger generation like, no, I was only told that by my grandparents to get me to clean my
yeah.
room.
Yeah.
Okay.
In February we have a time where we throw soybeans at a person who wears a mask that looks like a devil, and if you do that, you get rid of the evil out of your home.
Okay. Well, I
It's
suppose
a
it's
celebration on the leap year
okay.
of end of February. Yeah,
Okay.
everyone does that. Everyone does that.
Okay. So it's like
It's
create.
it's it's like an urban legend, right?
Yeah.
And what's coming up in September is you pound sticky
Or
rice.
when this episode airs past September.
Yeah.
What about next September?
In
Next
September the
September.
24th, in
2025.
September the 24th, you
Okay.
make sticky rice balls, okay? And then
Okay.
you put it in front of your window and you watch the rabbits pound sticky rice in the moon.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a harvest celebration that we have.
Right. And
And
I was just going to say, you're going to be celebrating Halloween yourselves, or is there any
Halloween
I
is
celebration?
will.
different here in, well, yeah, Halloween's different here in Japan. Is
Yeah.
it's not actually celebrated, especially where I am. It is somewhat celebrated in places like Tokyo and Osaka.
Hmm.
The only
Hmm.
two real places in Japan it is, but it's not celebrated normally like it would back in the States. Is
No.
Halloween it just recently, and I looked into this because I'm like, what can I do Halloween in Japan? And like it recently became a thing in Tokyo and Osaka, but they don't do trick or treating. They don't do anything else. Is people in Japan love to dress up.
Hmm.
So they're
Hmm.
like, I can dress up and party. That's the only thing they do on Halloween. They use it to dress
Yeah.
up and they
Hmm.
go party. That's it.
Yeah.
There's no other aspect of Halloween. I
Yeah.
can't go out and buy Halloween decorations
Hmm.
because the only thing they'll sell, and like especially in the bigger cities, like I said,
Hmm.
is costumes. So you can wear a costume and go party. But other than that, that's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's
Okay. Just no decorative kind of way. Probably going to have to love you or leave it, as they say in Ireland there. But I'm just going to ask you there, what have you got coming up in the future? Have you got anything planned? You got more guests coming up from the Spooky Japan podcast?
Oh, we always have more guests. We especially with the we're starting to schedule more people again, just because like we were saying before, they were expecting this mega quake. So I'm like, maybe we should hold off until we know because they expecting that to happen. But now we're like, yeah, let's just
Yeah.
continue the roll as usual.
Oh, I can always hold up my furniture. I don't really worry about it.
Although that's there. Irene has been in a earthquake during some podcast. She's like, "Oh, there's an earthquake. I'm fine. We'll just keep going."
Yeah,
That's how
no,
used to they
hold
are
on.
here
I'm
in
gonna hold
in
up my china cabinet. Okay, just keep on talking. Everyone's going, what? You're what? They go, yeah, I'm holding up my china cabinet. Okay, and the room's going like this, right?
and everyone's like,
And
"Should we end this?" No, I'm fine. It's because
Oh,
yeah, don't worry
especially
about
in
it.
the
Oh, I'm good. We're
springtime,
good. You know, like,
I was just
especially in
thinking.
the springtime, they're so used to it in around Tokyo area with it being the Ring of Fire.
Hmm.
you see, if I'm sleeping and we get one, sometimes we get it at 4 o'clock in the morning. I said, dang, I'm going back to bed. I'm not holding up no darn furniture. I'm gonna go to sleep. You can that earthquake, you can stick it up your blue blop because I don't care. I put my blanket over my head to keep me safe, and then go to bed. And I said, I'm not waking up till 10 o'clock in the morning because I woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning listening to this. I said, no way.
I know.
I don't care.
I know it's
Like,
when you're tired, you're tired. You got to carry
Yeah,
on sleeping. You know. Well,
I mean, jeez, like, can a girl get some rest? Like, leave me alone.
anyway, if that happened to me, there, I would be thinking, Jesus, I don't know if about. Anyway, I don't
You'd be
know. Anyway,
screaming, right? You'd be
it won't,
come
it
to
screaming,
won't, it
right?
won't be
Japan in
Jennifer,
the
my wife,
spring
doing it to
then.
me anyway. So
Don't
anyway,
come to Japan in the spring then, because you might
Yeah.
experience one.
okay.
And you know what? That's what's worst time. What's really worse is you taking a bath, right? You got shampoo in your hair, right? And then there's an earthquake. You go, all right, this is not fun. You're being mean.
I know that's not good.
And your face is all soapy. You got soap in your eyes. You go, my eyes are breaking. I can't see anything.
Okay, so we're gonna love it. Say goodbye now. Cheers, Irene and Amanda. It's been a pleasure talking to you there,
It's been a pleasure
and
Yeah.
being on here.
all the best in the future. And we're going to say happy Halloween, and I won't see you next time. I'll see you in the near distance. Goodbye for now.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye
Bye.
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 Bye.